Man, what an incredible episode of Jobless Reincarnation, episode 16. That's my thoughts on the episode. So let's jump right into it. Yeah, so much of this episode is really kind of around an awakening for Rudy. And I think it's incredible because there's a conundrum here. What exactly is the weight on Rudy? How much of this is Rudy's responsibility, and how much of it, I guess, his father is putting too much on him, or projecting possibly, but dang. I love having these thoughts. Like, I can't say that his father's right or wrong. That's where it's really good. But obviously they arrive at this capital finally. They get there and they get settled in. Eris apparently is going to go do some goblin slaying, which immediately jumps into Rudy's head. I don't know. I don't think that's a Goblin Slayer reference. I think it's probably a reference to something else, because I think Goblin Slayer was more recent. So I don't know if that was a reference they put in the anime or if it was something in the original light novel. But like I said, I think Goblin Slayer is way more recent than this particular series, so I don't think it's a reference to that. Obviously, a lore in Goblins is exactly what they put into Goblin Slayer, so it's not as if Goblin Slayer made up that concept. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's a connection there. I'm curious what the light novel writer is if he's specifically referencing something, or if it was just a coincidence there, because it's the aspect of not necessarily what it is, but just kind of etchifying it, if that's a word, etchifying it. So yeah, he hopes that Rijerd would take care of Eris as she goes out goblin slaying, and this leaves Rudy to pretty much do what he wants to do that day, which is to write a letter to his father and look for jobs for them to do, because apparently this city, they pay very well for jobs. At any rate, at some point he hears somebody being kidnapped outside, and so he rushes to help him. Apparently the other goal in this town is for them to help boost the reputation of the Superbs, and so they're going to go help people and then reveal who Rijerd is and then give them a figure in order to, I guess, some weird propaganda campaign to improve their reputation. But yeah, as he goes to chase after these people that are kidnapping somebody, he ends up sneaking in, finding some underwear as he's hiding, and wearing as a mask to fight against these people. And yeah, some guy jumps out, and, well, first he was fighting a bikini warrior lady, which was totally throwing him off. As he's licking oh my gosh, that was just... Oh, Rudy. There's a limit. There's a limit. He's like, the entire time he's apologizing to Rijerd, even though he's defiling his reputation by all these inappropriate things he's doing to underwear. Anyways, yeah, and then some guy shows up drunk, and he recognizes him, and I think most people probably were like immediately, yeah, this is going to be his dad. But yeah, as he's fighting him, eventually the guy stops and says, Rudy, and then he realizes, yeah, that's his father. He's, looks a little different. It's been a year and a half they've established in this episode like 3 times, so really hitting on this heavily that it's been a while since the Mana Disaster. But yeah, this is when we have a little conversation between Paul and Rudy. This is an incredible scene, because what's great about it is that Rudy obviously wants to tell his father everything that's happened. Like, I've done this. And the way that he's speaking to his father is in a way that this is some sort of, look what I did. Look what I've accomplished, Dad. Look what all the stuff that I went through. This great adventure. He's basically telling his father this story as if this is some grand adventure of greatness. And that's not what his dad wants to hear. His dad has spent the last year and a half frantically looking for people. The person that was kidnapped was somebody who was enslaved after being transported because of this teleportation disaster. And his father's like, why didn't you see my note? Why didn't you see my message? I don't know what you're talking about. I've left a message everywhere. If you've been to this particular town, you would have seen my message. Why didn't you see my message? The entire town is gone, and I've been looking for the last year and a half for them, and you've been goofing off. It's like, who's right? I mean, it's mean, but you can see the frustration in Paul, because Paul has been the last year and a half devastated by this whole situation and looking for his family and looking for all the people of the village. And they've gotten together this group that's actually going out and finding people who have been displaced and possibly put into slavery to save them and bring them back home to the home village. And Rudy's over here having fun with his rich girlfriend. You could see that issue there. You've been helping this demon, and he doesn't even need help. Your people need help. Your mom needs help. Your sisters need help. Everybody else here needs help, and you're screwing around over here. But at the same time, it's not as if Rudy's seen any of that. Rudy didn't know this. Rudy wasn't aware of this. But it's still a responsibility he's putting upon his son. Like, you could have done more. Again, but also that projection of frustration that I haven't been able to do enough, and here you are, you could have done something to aid me. So yeah, they end up getting to some additional fighting, and Rudy gets the upper hand and beats the snot out of him, and then that's when his sister shows up. So, and I think they already confirmed that. I think that in the letter that he posted, he said that he had the one daughter, not the other one, and Lilia, or again, Zenith. And she stops Rudy, says, leave my dad alone. She's like, wait, is that you? Oh, doesn't even recognize him. But yeah, he goes to leave, and then that's when, he fully reveals that, everybody's gone. Everybody. The entire town of Buena is gone. He's like, Sylphie's gone too? And he's like, you're thinking of your stupid girlfriend and your mom? You're not even thinking about your mom? And he's like, oh, wait, your mom too? Yeah, it's a frustrating thing because obviously... And yeah, just to finish this up, he eventually realizes that everybody's looking at him like he's been screwing up. And he gets a flashback. This has been the first time in a long time since we've had him relapse into his old self, in that he gets a vision of everybody in his classroom looking at him in his previous life. And so again, it's that return to him being useless and everybody looking at him as useless and an outsider that kind of relapses him into kind of a state of depression. Yeah, he goes back to the inn and he's kind of contemplating all. He's like, no, look, I'll talk to Dad and we'll get this all figured out. And then he starts puking the moment he thinks about it. I think it's that the puking. I wish it kind of specify what was the trigger, but he's obviously acknowledging his father and that he's going to clear things up. And I'm wondering if the puking was him realizing is an anxiety, like an anxiety of something he has to face something and he doesn't want to face it, or if it was a relapse of realizing that he's an outsider, including to his dad and everybody that is working for his dad, and he feels that anxiety and it kicks him right back down. But it was cute, having Eris and Rijerd show up, and they obviously realize he's beat up and he's upset, and Eris is like, who? Tell me who to kill. I love her protective nature that she has now. But yeah, it was really cute. She wants to leave to go kill his father because, again, he noted that it was his father that he met. And Rijerd's like, no, just be with him right now. And he leaves him in there alone. And she's spending like forever figuring out what she's going to do to comfort him. And she eventually just hugs him and says, I'm sorry, I don't know how to handle these kind of situations. It was way cute. Eris it's something she's not familiar with. Being in the family that she wasn't familiar with this kind of thing. And so she doesn't know how to handle it, and just finding something to handle it with was really, really cute. But yeah, incredible episode. Like I said, I kind of see it from two different perspectives. From Paul's perspective, this whole situation is, here's my son. I've been looking for him, along with everybody else. I've been struggling for the last year and a half trying to find everybody. And there's so many of these people that are put into terrible situations. They were trying to feed this guy because, again, he was put into slavery, and they had to rescue him. And the guy's broken. They were just trying to feed him, and he's just broken. And this is probably something he's been seeing a lot. And probably has the mindset in his head that, what if, Zenith is in that situation? Well, obviously, probably not Zenith, because she's like super skilled, but somebody like Lilia's daughter. These other people that can't protect themselves. He's probably seen this so much, he's afraid that that's going to be the same situation for all these other people. What are they going through? What are they dealing with in these situations? It was interesting to see that the guy that they rescue, that Rudy had followed, was actually the bully that was bullying Sylphie, which was pretty cool to have that kind of callback. But it was a show that this is the Buena Village. Buena Village is over here, including this guy. So obviously everybody else, Sylphie, again, Lilia, all these other people could be in the same situations and even worse situations. And that's been weighing on his father for a year and a half. And to finally find his son, and not only is his son fine and just been having a day old time, but his son's not acknowledging what he's been going through for the last year and a half. Again, from Rudy's side, he didn't know, he didn't look, he didn't see. It's not necessarily his fault, because I think if Rudy knew, he'd be fighting harder. Again, the issue that comes into play against Rudy, despite all this realization, what does he immediately think of? His harem. His harem. He's been taking care of Eris this entire time because his harem. Oh, the village is in danger? Oh, my harem, Sylphie. That's not your focus. Your focus is completely into, again, your otaku nature that's slowly coming back, and you're realizing it's something that this series has done so well for so long. Is while we see Rudy's an idiot, Rudy is a pervert, Rudy does this, does that, he seems like an otaku that's thrown into this other world. He's slowly coming to grips with the ideas and concepts of the dire situation he's in and this new life that he has and the new family he has, and disconnecting from some of those crucial connections in his new life is important. Why wouldn't he think about his parents? Because he's been reincarnated in this world, he's thinking build harem. Not, this is your new family. This is your family. Your family should be your highest priority. but it's not, because your mind is too into how do I build power and harem. And I think that's really cool to acknowledge both concepts, but then every now and then have that dire realization where reality hits and he finally realizes, oh, that's not really important right now. This is important. Family is important. What this village is going through is important. Not my grand adventures, my hopes and ambitions, my getting a evil demon eye, seeing ecchi stuff, all this stupid crap that is clouding his otaku mind that isn't important. This is important. And that's what I've always found truly fascinating about this series, and I've loved it to death for it. And it was also bad when he's talking about him taking care of his little rich girlfriend, and he's like, well, look at you. You have the bikini warrior next to you, and he just sets him off. What, am I expecting another sibling soon? Again, it's not wrong. It's such a struggle. It is such a struggle. Like, again, from Rudy's perspective, Paul is this drunken idiot hanging out with cute girls, and is that really what he is? I mean, you can make that argument. Was Paul, when he caught him, is Paul just screwing around, or is he actually doing something important? If it's such a dire situation, why are you drinking around and getting drunk? Why aren't you out there looking for Sylphie? Why aren't you looking for Lilia? Again, it works both ways. And I like that my mind immediately goes to who's right, not being completely black and white, this is what's going on. But yeah, fantastic stuff. I really didn't expect him to run into Paul this early. I'm curious if he'll hang out with him for a while. Maybe we'll get like this moment where he hangs out with Paul for a while and gets a perspective of how powerful his father is, or if they're going to immediately part ways. Maybe a disagreement with what's important will part them, or if Paul's going to say, well, it looks like you're, doing pretty well. Go handle this situation. It'll be interesting to see how long they hang out with each other. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the situation. Do you think Rudy's right? Do you think Paul's right? I think it's a really good moment of seeing what you guys' perspective is to the situation. It's really interesting. But yeah, as always, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or in the tips link in the description below. And we thank everybody that does. And y'all take care.